sad old carrots. Maybe you made curry and had half a can of coconut milk left. Your citrus is mouldy and soft, and you've got some coffee grounds left from your morning cup of coffee. Today, I'm going to show you how to transform these sad old half cans, already used ingredients that most of you might have hanging around in your kitchen, and we're going to turn that waste into wow. These three unassuming looking desserts really are incredible. Coconut cream creme brulee, a carrot halva with an orange cream cheese mousse, and from them leftover cups of coffee, I've made some incredible chocolate brownies. These are some next level desserts, all made from a load of junk. These are the sorts of things that always get left in the kitchen, and even me, a chef of 20 plus years who's done this professionally, still guilty of the sad, bendy, floppy carrot that lives in the fridge. And usually when you think desserts, you think expensive, but not today. With all of these leftovers, scraps, and potential rubbish, I'm going to show you how to make three amazing desserts. And with all these desserts, I thought let's go around the world, to the States with some beautiful coffee chocolate brownies, to Thailand with a coconut custard that's essentially a creme brulee, and carrot halva. So I'm going to bring all my chefy knowledge to you guys at home so that you can recreate some of my favourite sweets and desserts from scraps. So make sure you stick around till the end, because I promise that these three desserts will make you look at leftovers in a totally different way. Let's start this ultimate dessert from scraps menu with the coconut custard. Where you might use cream and milk, we're going to use the leftover half can of coconut. I'm going to show you step by step what to do so that you at home can also not let your half can of coconut milk go mouldy in the fridge. So first up, let's get our ingredients together, and we're going to make this delicious, creamy, wonderful Thai-inspired creme brulee. So first, what you need to do for this recipe is work out how much coconut cream you have. Ideally, if you have half a jar, you're going to have around 200 grams. So get that weighed out into a saucepan so that we can slightly warm it up. Obviously, this is coconut cream. We will have them large thick lumps of the coconut cream, and we want to make sure that it's all soft before we add it to our eggs and sugar. So get that going. Just so happen to have a little bit of cream left over in the fridge, so I've topped it up to make 200 grams. So I'm going to get this on to warm, and we get on to the next bit. And while it's warming up, we're going to crack our eggs into a bowl and add the sugar. So add in your 3 eggs and 3 to 4 tablespoons of sugar, depending on how sweet you like it. If you're looking for this recipe, head to my website. You can find it there, along with loads of other amazing zero waste ideas, and also just downright delicious, tasty recipes for home cooks like you at home. And you just need to give it a good whisk so that it's all combined, and then we can add that slightly warmed coconut cream. You want to make sure that that's not hot, because otherwise you're going to curdle your eggs. So you just want to make sure it's loose and that cream has dissipated into one texture. And once it's all mixed together, I pour it through a sieve just to get any imperfections out, because sometimes you get the little bits of egg white, and we want to make sure it's smooth and creamy. And lastly, you turn the oven on to 160 degrees. I'm going to pour this into the ramekins and make a little bain-marie in my tray and cook them until they've just got that little jiggle. It's probably going to be about 25-30 minutes, and then into the fridge they go. Let them set, and we'll come back to them later and give them a blowtorch so we get that true creme brulee feel with that little coconut hint. What also would be really nice is you could infuse the coconut milk with maybe a fresh lime leaf or some ginger or even some cardamom pods. You know, really enhance them flavors. And there you have it. They've been sat in the fridge for about 2 hours. As you saw when I took them out there, they just had that perfect little wobble left, like a creme brulee should have, and now soft to touch and cool and ready to eat. So let's get one of these sugar coated and tuck in. The best way to do this is to tip your sugar in the middle, knock it around the edges, and now we can perfectly brulee that sugar. Get out your blowtorch and give it a burn. Work in from the edge. The sugar will start to caramelize, and you can even let that sugar move around too, just like that. Now let's give it a minute or two to set, because you don't want to go straight in, you'll burn your little tongue. And then we're ready to go. perfectly crisp on top. And like incredible texture on the inside. I mean, what's not to love about it? That hint of coconut is just to die for. And you know what? I reckon you could probably go one less egg. And then it would be even more incredible. Okay, let's move on to the next dish. Here we are on our worldly journey of desserts. At number 2, we have got carrot halva. Now, as I said, this dessert, many different iterations around the world. We are making more the kind of Greek version. If you ate this dessert in, let's say, India, it might not have the semolina flour in. If you ate this dessert in the Middle East, it might be more tahini based and you might have sesame in it. Now, this might not necessarily be traditional to go with it, but I thought, I've got these. I've also got a bit of cream cheese. This is another culprit. You buy it for something, you're making a pasta. You're making a cake. You buy a bit, you don't use it all. Great way to use up some of this is just to make we're gonna make like a little cream cheesy mousse to go on the top. Super easy. We're gonna go step by step as before, and you too can learn how to make halva. Impress your friends with something they've probably never heard of. So first off, we are gonna grate these carrots. So I'm gonna definitely get rid of the ends. I mean, maybe I'll get rid of this guy. I'm like, I should peel it, but to be honest, it's not like it's moldy, it's just going a bit funny in the fridge because it's getting a bit dry. So I'm just gonna grate them. I mean, look at this thing, it's so sad. But try your hardest and get the most out of it. And there you go. But the one great thing, about using an old, dry, sad carrot is that most of the moisture has been sucked out of it, meaning we're actually onto a win, because if you were using a brand new fresh carrot, you would have to squeeze all of the extra moisture out of it. Just think of like the difference if you've ever grated a fresh carrot. Juicy, liquids, lovely. This guy, dry, sad, pathetic, but perfect for this dish. So now we need to toast off the semolina. If we were fully going Greek, we might be using olive oil, but I do slightly prefer the kind of Indian version where you use the ghee. I mean, this is a real blend of the two halvas, but we're gonna take about 2 tablespoons of that and we're gonna warm it up. And what's really great is to add in them cardamom pods. So I've got 4 cardamom pods. I'm not gonna break them, crush them or anything. We're gonna put them into the butter, and as it starts to melt, it will become fragrant and we can pull these out when they're done. So I'm going to add in the cardamom pods and the butter. Like I said, roughly 2 tablespoons. And just so that we have everything ready to go, I'm going to have my 1/4 cup of semolina. So let's get this working. So onto the stove the butter goes. We're going to infuse them cardamom pods a little. Once it's melted, we're going to add in the semolina. We want to toast it off until it's golden brown. And then we're gonna add in the carrots and cook out all the moisture in that too. Finally, we're gonna add in our sugar, about 1/3 cup, add that in and let it all start to cook down. You'll see that it starts to become almost fudgy and pulling away from the sides, which is how we want it. So all together, cooking time for this on the stove is almost about 25 minutes. So you wanna do it low and slow, not on a high heat. And when it's finally at that end, we're going to remove them cardamom pods, add in 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and it's ready to go. I'm also going to add in some toasted nuts. Not necessary, but great for a little bit of crunch. So add in a small pinch of them toasted almonds, which I've got, but it could be anything, walnuts, whatever you like. And there it is. Isn't it crazy, the texture difference from the beginning to the end? When you add that sugar and the last little bit of moisture comes out the carrots. But all you need to do now is set it into a bowl and we're gonna put it in the fridge. Sneaky last cardamom pod. I thought there was 4 in there. Nothing worse than biting into one of them. Now the halva's setting, so let's make the cream cheese topping. Think carrot cake, but kind of Middle Eastern vibes. a palette of things that you are probably very familiar with. So let's get on with this, and it's super easy to make. I'm gonna zest and juice 1 orange and zest 1 lemon. I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons of icing sugar and 2 tablespoons of, I had some cream, but if you didn't, a little bit of milk would be fine. And then we're gonna add in our softened cream cheese, about 100 grams, and bring it all together. And there it is, all whisked up into this soft mousse-like texture. Oh, yum. And there it is. It's become set and ready to go. And we've got that lovely orange mousse. And to get them perfect little restaurant quenelles, I've got myself a hot teaspoon, and you just go in, and on they go. Yum. And then to decorate with some more of them sliced almonds into that wonderful orange mousse. And the most understated looking thing turns into the most glorious little dessert. So let's give it a taste. But it's almost fudgy. The almonds, delicious. And that soft orange mousse on top. Oh my God. If you've never heard or ever made this in your life, I suggest you go find that old carrot in your fridge, because this one, oh, is honestly so delicious. Okay, it's on to that third and final dessert. Let's go. And finally, we've made it to the end of these food waste desserts, the ultimate delicious scraps to insanely tasty nibbles. We all know here in NZ, we love a cup of coffee, but it does mean that many of these pucks, or the bottom of your cafetiere, go to waste. And a great way to use them up, making chocolate brownies. It's really simple to make. And you know what's great? For the most part, you've probably got the ingredients, maybe bar the chocolate, but I would say that most people, well, certainly in my household, there's always chocolate in the cupboard. So without further ado, let's get into this recipe, and I'll show you how simple it is to use your old coffee grinds and make tasty desserts. Let's quickly go through these ingredients. We have got essentially 1 plunger's worth of coffee, about 40 grams of the grinds. We've got 30 grams of cocoa and flour, 150 grams sugar. Should maybe all be brown, didn't have all brown, mixed it in with some white. 2 eggs, some salt. I've got another 60 mils of some coffee. I just used some Nescafe granules, diluted it, 60 grams of butter, and then your chocolate. You need about 140 grams. Now, again, I didn't have 140 grams of exactly what I needed. So I've got some white chocolate chips, which I'm gonna keep whole, and I'm just gonna fold them through when the batter's done. And then here's my other chocolate. I mean, look at the state of this stuff. He has been in the cupboard for quite some time, but I thought, you know what? You're not going in the bin. I will use you at some point. And here we are using this chocolate. I mean, I can't even think about how old this might be, but you know that I hate food waste, and you know the resources that went into even making this chocolate bar, exponential. So he was never going in the bin, and I found the perfect recipe to use them. And I'm also going to add in some of these crystallized ginger skins. Now, if you haven't seen my video on making cheong, which is like a Korean syrup from fruit, I've added the link up here to my little video of it, and the recipe is also attached to that video. And it's a really great way to use up fruit that you might have an abundance of. You can do it into anything. I've made it into apple cheong, I've made it into all sorts. But what is great, especially with the lemon and the ginger one that I did, is you end up with the full strands. I then just bake them in the oven. So now I have these perfectly crisp, oh, like fiery hot ginger shreds that are sweet. So I'm going to chop up a few of them and add them into. So let's get this made and bake him. Turn the oven on to 170 degrees to preheat. I'm going to use a small, this is only going to make about 6 brownies. Of course, double the recipe, you'll get 12. I don't need that many in my household. They'll probably go to waste. Well, that's a lie, they won't go to waste, they'll get eaten and I'll get fat, but whatever. So melt your butter and add in that chopped up chocolate. Take it off the heat when you add in your chocolate. You just want to make sure that it's fully melted, but you don't want it to cook. Take your 2 eggs and your sugar, and we're going to beat them in a bowl until they have a larger amount of volume, probably about double. You can see here that they've really expanded. Once that melted butter and chocolate have fully combined, we're going to add in our coffee grinds into that chocolate, extra shot of coffee, stir in to the eggs, the flour and the cocoa once that's all nicely combined, and then we'll mix it all together. You want to keep a lot of that air in there to make these nice and light, and you end up with the most incredible fudgy consistency. Always when you're baking, I like to add a touch of salt just to enhance all of them flavors. Then finally at the end, we're going to tip in them white chocolates, a few little bits of that candied ginger. I'm just going to break it up, pop it in a tray and bake it in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Simple, easy, let it cool, and then we can tuck in. And we've made it. It's cooled down, probably not long enough, but I don't care. I'm cutting into it and giving this brownie a taste because it smells delicious. It smells like coffee and chocolate and all the good stuff. So let's get into this. I mean, as I said, probably should let it set for a little longer, but I'm impatient. Look at that. Soft and wonderful and rich. Let's give it a quick taste. You will never want to waste them coffee grinds again. Anyways, that's the end of this week's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Follow along for next time. If you're looking for some more ways to cut down on your food waste too, I've added some more great ideas just up here. There's a whole playlist full of amazing videos. But that is it for this week. Join me next week for something equally fantastic. And I'm gonna go and have a wonderful cup of tea and a bit more of this brownie. I'll see you all next week. Ciao for now.